All right, fourth grade, I have a problem for you. It says there are 3 students in this class and there are 27 apples. If the apples are divided equally among the students, how many does each student get? So I need to solve this problem, so I went ahead and drew a picture. Here's one of my students. Here's another student. And if you think those pictures aren't beautiful masterpieces, just wait. There's my third student. Now I have all of these apples right here. This is 27 apples. We're gonna pretend these little blocks are apples. Wouldn't really wanna eat that apple, it's kind of dirty. Now the question's asking us how many apples will each student get if we divide them equally. So she's not gonna get more than him and he's not gonna get more than her. So looking at these apples, I know I can do one thing. And I think about this like when I think about playing cards, how you give like one a card, you get a card. You kind of give each person a card till you run out. Okay, so right now they're all getting 3 apples. Okay, now I just gave her 3 more apples, so let me see if I can give her 3 more. Yep, okay, I'm gonna give him 3 more. Okay, I'm gonna give her 1 more, 1 more, 1 more, 1 more, 1 more. 1 more. Oh, I have enough. Sweet. Okay, so what's the answer to this problem? How many apples can each student get? Hopefully you said each student can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 apples. Sorry, ma'am, you got the dirty apple. So what is this called? What type of problem would you call this? Hopefully you said that this was a division problem. So today and this week and the next week, we are going to start working on division. So you're probably wondering, what is division? Well, first off, it's the opposite of multiplication. When you have multiplication, you would know that there are, let's say, 3 students and each student is getting, let's say, 2 apples. Multiplication wants to figure out the total number of apples. So 2, 4, 6. Division is the opposite. In division, we start with a total. Just like in this problem, we started with a total number of apples. Division is also repeated subtraction, which makes sense because we know multiplication is repeated addition, and addition and subtraction are opposites. What do you mean it's repeated subtraction? Well, let me show you. So if I started with 27 apples, when I give each kid an apple, I got rid of 3 apples, so minus 3 is 24. If I give each kid 1 more apple, I just gave away 3 more apples, so now I have 21 apples left. If I keep going in this pattern, I give each kid 3 more apples, that's 21 minus 3 is 18. If I give each kid 3 more apples, do you see how I'm repeatedly subtracting? That would give me 15 apples left. Minus 3 is 12. Minus 3 is 9. Minus 3, I don't have enough room. Minus 3 is 6. Minus 3 is 3. Minus 3 is 0. I subtracted 3 all the way down till I got to 0. Now my answer is not 0. My answer is how many each kid gets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I subtracted 3. Subtracted 3 9 times. So that means each kid got 9 apples. Okay, so division is the opposite of multiplication. It is repeated subtraction. So looking here, if we did 12 divided by 4, so 12 apples divided by 4 students, that would equal 3. 12, I give each student an apple. I give each student an apple. I give each student an apple. I gave each student 3 apples because I subtracted 4 from 12 3 times to get to 0. Here's a model, and you might notice that this model looks pretty similar to an array. So in this model, first off, this one kind of shows 3 groups of 4. Do you see how there's 1, 2, 3 groups represented by these little boxes? And in each group we have 4. So you might say 3 times 4 equals 12, or you can say 12 divided by 3. So if I divide and put each of those 4 dots in each one, then there would be 4 dots in each one. Here is kind of the same thing. I just did it a little bit differently. Instead of 3 groups, I drew 4 groups. And you see that there's 3 dots in each group. So 12 divided into 4 groups equals 3. While we're on the topic of division, it's important that we learn some vocabulary that we're going to be hearing throughout this unit. And there's 3 words that I want you to learn today. Your dividend, your divisor, your quotient. A dividend is the number that you are dividing. So think of this as like your total. So looking at this problem, what is our dividend? Hopefully you said 27. That is our dividend because that is our total number of apples. That is the thing that we are dividing, right? So whatever it is that we are splitting up and dividing and sharing in equal groups, that is our dividend. Now, what are we dividing it by? That is called the divisor. It's the number you are dividing by. So, looking here, and you know what? I just realized I'm going to write that on the chart. The number you are dividing by. So, looking here, we divided a total of 27 apples into, or between, 3 students. So, our dividend, which is our total number of things we have. 3 is what we're dividing it by. That's called our divisor. And the answer to a division problem is always going to be called the quotient. So our answer here was 9. Each student got 9 apples. Do you remember what the answer to a multiplication product was? Oh, did you guys just hear that? This is why I shouldn't record videos after school. I just gave you the answer in my question. Let me try that again. Do you remember what the answer to a multiplication problem is? Hopefully you said product. We have product for multiplication. Answer to an addition problem is called the sum. Answer to a subtraction problem is called the difference. And now the answer to a division problem is called a quotient. Okay. So I want to challenge you guys to try and start working on using this vocabulary when you are doing your math thinking and explaining math to your teacher or to other people. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about today is fact families. Maybe you remember with addition, we talked about fact families with addition and subtraction. So if we know 4 plus 2 equals 6, the opposite of that would be 6 minus 2 equals 4. Same thing works for multiplication and division. You can have fact families. So we already know that 4 times 3 equals 12, and we know that we can flip that to 3 times 4, and that will also equal 12. 12 is our total. So with division, we start with our total. So here's our total here, 12. We divide it by 4, one of these factors. There's another vocabulary word for you. And our answer is that we have 3 left. If you don't believe me, go try this. Find 12 blocks or cubes or counters or erasers, whatever you have, Legos. Find 12 of them, divide them into groups of 4, and see if you get 3. Same thing here. If we start with our total again, we know we can also divide it by 3 and get 4. These are fact families, and you can have fact families for multiplication and division or addition and subtraction. Now, let's test that theory here. Notice this should be a fact family, right? So we start with our total and division. So if we know that if we want to write another division equation, 27 divided by, we can flip these two. If we divide it by 9, so let's say there's 9 students, each student will get 3 apples. Now, how do we use this fact family to write a multiplication expression? Can you pause this video and think of how you can use these 3 numbers to write a true multiplication equation? Hopefully, you said 9 times 3 equals 27. In multiplication, the total is our answer. You could also flip that and it's the same thing. So today was a really basic introduction to division. A lot of you probably already know this because you did learn some of this in 3rd grade. Division is going to get a little trickier in 4th grade because we're going to start dividing bigger numbers. So as the week goes on, you'll see numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger. But I hope that you are feeling refreshed today, and good luck with your math work. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.